and welcome back everyone to the video series dedication show on MTV that has locked in its finalists for the season. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 40 Battle of the Eras Episode 17. We are down to the final 4 men and the final 4 women, and they will be competing to win a challenge championship. But before we can talk about any of that, let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Derek winning against Tori in the elimination. There are 4 men left who feel like they are in the finals, and everybody runs back to the challenge house. Now, I will say that, like I mentioned, the men feel like they are already in the finals, so they are way more excited than the women. Now, the women are excited, but they know what lingers on in the background is knowing that there will be another daily challenge, that there is most likely another women's elimination to decide on who will actually make it into the final and what one person will be missing out and have their season come up one elimination short. We have to get to the traveling montage where everybody loads up on a plane early in the morning and boom, here they arrive in the Philippines, where they are surrounded by water. TJ did say where they will be going will not be as green. Well, it's all blue, baby. And I have a feeling that water will be a key element in this season's final. But that's just a speculation, just because of what we see later on in this episode. We do see everybody getting a time to relax down by the pool. It's like the calm before the storm. They get to have a nice meal, dress up as they go over their favorite moments from the season. Bananas just can't help himself as he wants to take a little bit of a pop shot over at Devin, where he says his favorite part of the season, or his favorite moment of the season, is when Devin was eliminated. Tori and Michelle feel like this was a little bit of a wrinkle in a very nice moment. Michelle says that her favorite moment of the season was winning the Era Invitational. I kind of forgot some of these moments even happened because this season has been so long. Kylan liked the fire plunge. I feel like there's a little bit of recency bias there because it kind of stunk. Jordan went for the wholesome route, saying that this moment right here, being with everybody and making the final, is the best and favorite moment for him. Aww. Jordan, such a sweetheart. And then Tori talks about that there was no real big alliance this season, and it was more like smaller alliances going after each other. But I have to give it to Johnny Bananas kind of calling her out, being like, yeah, but you are part of that giant alliance season in and season out. And technically, if not for all the mess that happened for the Vacation Alliance, we could have had a giant Vacation Alliance kind of pushing their way through the season. But at the same time, I agree with everybody else at the table, being like, Johnny is really playing up how hurt he felt about Tori breaking off this friendship with him and all of this other stuff. Just understand that you, on the friendship scale, is just not as high as Devin is for Tori. And Tori felt like for the friendship and for her own personal game, she decided that she was against you this season, and you just gotta take it and roll with it. But now, it's time for everybody to don their challenge gear, head down to meet up with TJ for the final daily challenge of the season called Fortress Bricks, where all the players are gonna have to run up this fortress via stairs and everything. They have to run up all these stairs to get up to a top of a fortress to grab some bricks. They have to bring them all the way back down to the starting line, and for every 4 bricks you bring down to the starting line, you can pick up a plank of wood. You have to move all 40 bricks, bring up all 10 planks to your puzzle station at the top of the fortress, and then put together a puzzle. The fastest man and woman to put their puzzle together will win into power and win into safety. Now, TJ does tell all the men that they have officially made the final, but they still need to compete in this daily challenge because whichever man comes in last place will get a penalty to start off the final. For the women, whoever comes in last place will go directly into the elimination, and Cara Maria has a 3-minute time penalty that will be assessed after all the times have been rung up. I think that this is a tough challenge. This is a challenge made to test and break you right before the final. Doing this challenge right now is devious. This is battling your stamina. This is battling your will to push yourself, and it's also battling your brain after doing tons of manual labor for hours testing your brain to put together a pretty complex plank puzzle. All right, now some key performances. Kylan and Jordan get off to a really quick start. They seem to be noticing each other and pacing each other. Kylan actually does leapfrog over Jordan at some point during this challenge, which was pretty shocking because even just last episode, people were talking about how Jordan is a triathlete, and not to say that Kylan isn't athletic, but it just feels like Jordan is made for this type of challenge. Jenny gets off to a very quick start for the women. She does have a bit of an asthma attack. She feels like she's having trouble breathing at certain points, yet Jenny put it into overdrive. She is a target, so she wasn't going to let anything stop her from getting anything but first place in this challenge. Something that I was shocked by was Tori's strategy. Now, she is not a target, so there's no real point of needing to win first place. All she is really worried about is not coming in last place. And so she knows that Cara Maria has a 3-minute time penalty, and Michelle is not, let's say, yoked with muscles. So Tori basically knows that she needs to just keep pace with Cara Maria and stay ahead of Michelle. But the problem is that this puzzle was a huge equalizer. Kylan getting a little bit of a head start on the puzzle and a little bit of a lead on Jordan. Jordan was able to get his last plank. While Kylan had a good head start on his puzzle, Jordan was able to get to the puzzle station, be able to pass up Kylan. Bananas is the last man to get to his puzzle station, and he finishes second ahead of Kylan and Derek. Fortunately for Kylan, he was able to finish third, and Derek, unfortunately, is going to start the final off with a penalty. I don't know what happened with Kylan here. I will say that the plank puzzle is a little bit funky and a little bit weird, especially if you don't know how the puzzle is supposed to look. Jenny is first to finish for the women, and so she's in power. She's no longer a target. She has punched her ticket to the final. And unfortunately for Cara Maria, she was able to overcome a 3-minute time penalty, do incredibly well in this daily challenge, but alas, she has to still be a target. And Rachel gets third place for the women. So now it comes down to Michelle and Tori. And kind of like what I was saying with Kylan, Tori is able to start working on her puzzle first before Michelle, who has been really having a tough time throughout this daily challenge. She's the last one overall to get to her puzzle with her final plank, but again, this puzzle is a super equalizer, and Michelle is able to put the puzzle together, getting fourth place, locking in her spot to the final, and Tori got last place, and she is going directly into the final elimination of the season, having to go up against a challenge legend in either Cara Maria or Rachel. It's really shocking because Tori, I would have thought, had this in the bag. I thought that she was going to waltz her way to the final. You just never know what's around the corner or who's going to come up behind you and surprise you with their puzzle skills or puzzle abilities. You can't sleep on these puzzles. And Tori getting last place for the first time in this season. The two people heading in the chamber is Jordan and Jenny, but Jordan has the sole decision on who to send in against Tori. It's either Rachel or Cara Maria. Now, something that I find interesting is that Cara Maria does say that her and Jordan have gotten really close over the course of the season, that they have mended those fences and mended those bridges together. As an audience member, I would have loved to have seen that. We have seen so many seasons where Jordan and Cara just have never seen eye to eye. And to be on season 40, having two champions, two legends of the game, come to an understanding and a respect for each other, I would have loved to have seen at least one conversation. Because I wouldn't have guessed it from just watching the edit. Coming into the chamber, I would have thought, well, he has a deal with Rachel. We've seen him have way more conversations with Rachel. They've talked about wanting to work together. There's no way he would ever consider saving Cara in this moment. Yet we come in here and Jordan's hemming and hawing, and it's a really difficult decision for him. And Cara's saying that they're really close with each other. It's like, why didn't we see this? Why couldn't we have seen just one conversation between? I don't think we saw even one conversation with Jordan and Cara this entire season, which I think is a complete waste. Getting to this point, we could have had a full circle moment. I think it was just a missed opportunity. When it comes down to it, Jordan decides to save Rachel because they did shake hands, and Jordan is a man of his word, and he just never had an agreement or shook hands with Cara Maria. So he decides that he's going to want to send Cara Maria into the elimination against Tori. Now, it's around this time after Jordan makes the decision that Cara Maria talks about the evolution that happened with her over the course of the season, that she has made friendships, she has made bonds, she has buried hatchets with certain players, she has gotten past certain barriers with other players. And to me, that sent red alarms. And I was like, oh no, it feels like this is a kind of a goodbye, seasonal reflection kind of confessional that happens once a player gets eliminated. And I was like, oh no, we really haven't gotten anything with Tori like that. So it's like, I feel like Cara Maria is going into this elimination and most likely going to be eliminated. But hey, you never know what could happen. One sweet moment that happened before the elimination happened is that it is Cara Maria's birthday at the point of filming this episode. She opened up the door and was very surprised to see that there was a cake waiting for her. She had flowers, balloons, and Michelle, Tori, and Derek were there to celebrate her special day with her. It was a very nice moment. It is really awesome to see like Cara has that support. If you could ask her when the season began, who do you think would have your back by the end of this game? Maybe she would have named Derek since they did All-Stars 4 together, but I don't think she would have seen the friendship or support that she had made over the course of the season with Tori and Michelle. I think that came out of left field. I think that just grew organically over the course of the game. I just thought that this was a really, really nice moment. But speaking of something not so happy, is the final elimination of the season. The players take a boat to what seems to be a gross, rusty boat named the SS Sinister, where TJ says that the finalists will be living on the SS Sinister for the entirety of the final. And then he looks over at Rachel, Jenny, and Michelle and say, congratulations, you made it to the final. And now you get to sleep on this boat. And Cara and Tori, you are going to be enduring torture for hours in this final elimination called Final Elimination, where Cara and Tori will be getting into this ring in the ocean and be treading water for as long as possible. The way you lose is if you get totally submerged underwater for a period of time, or you tell TJ you quit. Which, I don't know why they added in if somebody says they quit, because neither of Tori or Cara Maria are ever going to quit. I'm sorry to say, they will pull a Jack from the Titanic before either one of them says the word quit out of their mouth. Neither one of them will quit. This is really bad for Cara, who does not do well in water or the ocean. And to me, this is my personal nightmare. I have thalassophobia. I don't like large, wide open spaces. I don't like being in the water at night. You don't know what's under there. And from what it sounded like with Cara and Tori, there were snakes swimming all around them. They had plankton and you had seaweed. You had little fish biting at them for hours. It just seemed miserable. And also, I was on the swim team and we had to do like this tread water practice multiple times during the season, and it was the worst. I felt like this was gonna go on forever. And even TJ was kind of like baiting everybody that possibly, maybe, this could become the longest elimination in challenge history. That is until we get to phase 2 and phase 3. After 2 hours of Cara Maria and Tori treading water the normal way, TJ says that they will be doing phase 2, which was keeping your hands above water. And I was thinking, okay, that's going to be really tough. Tori looked a lot calmer than Cara Maria. I think Tori is just a lot more comfortable in water. I know that she was struggling, but she did not want to show that to Cara Maria, who was doing a lot more movement to stay above water. Both were doing consistently well, and I thought maybe this could go on for another 2 hours. Not so fast. Phase 2 only lasts for 20 minutes, and then TJ introduces phase 3, where you don't just keep your hands above water, you gotta keep your whole elbows above water too. And I was thinking, I never did that in the swim. That is so tough. I think in a matter of minutes, Cara Maria dunks her head underwater and has to use her hands, and she dips her elbows and her arms in the water. And so she is eliminated from the season. She gave it her valiant effort, and I think she should be very proud of the performance she had on this season, getting into the top 5 of the women, nearly making the final. I mean, she was gone for like 4 or 5 years from the challenge, and her first 2 full seasons back. She gets second place in All-Stars 4, and then now she nearly makes the final in season 40. One of, if not, the most stacked casts in challenge history. Having to make new friends, all while dealing with a whole bunch of drama from Laurel, and here she is in the final elimination and going toe-to-toe with Tori for nearly 2.5 hours in the ocean, which she has clearly stated is not her strong suit. I just think that she has done an incredible season, as well as Tori should be very proud of winning this elimination against Cara Maria, making it into yet another final for herself. And now we have the finalists of Rachel, Jenny, Tori, Michelle, Johnny Bananas, Derek, Kyland, and Jordan. Now, before saying goodbye to Cara Maria, TJ lets her know that she will be handing out karma points to the final 8 competitors. We do see her give points to 2 players. She gives 5 points to Rachel and 1 point to Johnny Bananas. There's question marks on which point she gave everybody else, but it seems as though we will know the results of everybody's karma points at the start of next episode, as in the preview, TJ mentions that everybody who was eliminated was able to hand out karma points to everybody, and it seems like that could bring a advantage or disadvantage to you if you had too low of karma points. And from just the previews, it sounds like Johnny Bananas isn't very happy with the karma points that he was given. I will say, kind of calculating it, it feels like he's gotten more 1s than he has 5, but we're just gonna have to wait and see how that's all gonna play out. I thought that this was a fun episode, a nice reflection to the season and everything that happened and the players and how they got here. I felt like the daily challenge was really, really tough, and I thought that it was bold to have such a physically demanding challenge so close to the final, and then seeing Cara versus Tori in the final elimination of a season where they are starting to get along with each other and be friends and having to face each other in the final elimination and going for 2.5 hours against each other, I thought made for a very spectacular ending to the regular season. But I am so thrilled that we are going to be starting the final at some point soon. I don't think we're going to have an episode on Christmas, so we're going to be picking this back up after a week off or 2 weeks off, and then we'll get right back into the challenge vibe and finally get to the final that we've been wanting to get to. I'm so excited to get to the final and see how everybody is going to play. I now want to turn it over to you. What do you think about this episode? Please let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about our 8 finalists? Are you sad that Cara Maria was eliminated right before the final? What do you think about her performance this season? Are you impressed? Or are you a little bit kind of sad that she didn't make it to the final? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. Out of the 8 players who remain, who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting against? Who do you think has the most karma points out of all of the players? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. I now want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more Challenge 40 content, more content in general. But until then, peace.